I want to welcome you all to this Industry Expert Series webinar hosted by OrthoFi. I'm your host, Marla Merritt, and tonight we have a very special guest, Brooke Oliphant from Rise Up Consulting. For those of you who are joining one of our webinars for the first time, the format is that we just bring in some of the industry's most trusted experts and brilliant experts, I might say, and we just spend an hour learning from them. As we determine the content for this year's session, we decided to focus on areas where practice growth is often needed. Some of the changes we will discuss throughout this Industry Expert Series in 2024 may make you very uncomfortable. We're asking you to consider maybe a new way of thinking, a new way of working, or a new way of supporting your team. I hope that you will join us for tonight's webinar and other webinars as we all embark on this journey together to really get uncomfortable and challenge ourselves and make our practices all that they can be. Throughout this webinar, you'll be able to submit questions using the Q&A. So not the chat. Make sure you're throwing your questions in the Q&A. Our team will gather those, kind of organize them by topic. And then we're going to try to leave a few minutes at the end of the webinar to ask Brooke those questions and let her answer them for us live. So we always love that part. It's like you get a little extra learning at the end of the session. So now I want to move on to the really good stuff. Brooke Oliphant is a coach, speaker, and best-selling author. She's also the founder of a company called Rise Up Consulting. She recently changed the name of her company, and I love the Rise Up Consulting, just thinking as we're all going to rise together, and Brooke is going to teach us some things to really help us do that. Brooke is a lifelong entrepreneur, and she partners with practices to support elevated profitability by creating a world-class new patient experience, increasing same-day contracts, and also just transforming TCs into confident sales rock stars. And I know this about Brooke. After someone's worked with her, they feel like a rock star. They're ready to tackle their career as being a treatment coordinator. One of my favorite Brooke stories is that she won OrthoFi's Treatment Coordinator Award for 2 years in a row when she actually was a treatment coordinator. So she comes at you with a lot of experience and was actually one of our OrthoFi's top rock stars in a practice that used OrthoFi for 2 years in a row. I often call Brooke the closer because I think that name just really fits her. Brooke is also a dear friend of mine. And Brooke, I want to welcome you tonight. We're excited to learn from you and just learn all that you have to teach us. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, Marla. I appreciate the warm welcome. I have had a long history with OrthoFi and am happy to now be here and sharing just some insight, some opportunity into ways that you can better your best. And like Marla said, I recently renamed my company Rise Up Coaching, and this whole idea that we don't have to be at the bottom or struggling, things don't have to be falling apart to look for opportunities to grow and to increase profitability, success, and happiness in our practice, as well as team training. And beyond that, to really just in this era that we're in right now of increased shopping around, heightened competition, affordability, that we're looking for really fine-tune ways to better our best, to make improvements by embracing discomfort. So let me share this presentation and we will dig in here together. All right. So I'm going to talk with everyone this evening about selling the upsell. So some presentation strategies that are going to produce winning results. The goal being that You are capitalizing on those who are starting with you in that same day commitment. If you're an OrthoFi user, definitely utilizing the platform, the slider, the guardrails, the open choice. And if you aren't, I would encourage you to look into it because I love it. As Marla shared, my name is Brooke Oliphant. I'm the founder of Rise Up Coaching. I remotely partner with practices all over the United States, Canada, and Australia at the moment. If you're beyond that, reach out to me. I'm happy to talk with you about growth opportunities in your practice. Together, we're going to reduce trial and error. We're going to reach your goals faster. We're going to optimize conversion, increase those same-day commitments, and support the practice really through the funnel of that new patient experience and treatment coordinators. I love treatment coordinators, doctors, being an entrepreneur, and I come at the entire sales and client experience from an entrepreneurial perspective. I was a business owner for many years before I got into orthodontics and became a treatment coordinator. So I really have a unique angle and perspective into how to empower and equip treatment coordinators and doctors with the skill sets and confidence and strategies to create a new patient experience that truly converts shoppers to buyers. I have a large Brady Bunch family. I've got 2 kids in college, and the rest high school down to elementary school. So we have a busy, active home life, and I love it. Our every day is an adventure, and the way that we interact with our clients is that you become a part of our family. So let's get uncomfortable together. There are realities that are affecting conversion, higher cost of living, increased competition, and the need for patient affordability. Those are present factors. What I talk with people about often is that we can acknowledge those things and they can become an excuse. They can be the thing that kind of justifies why everything's falling flat or going backwards in your business. And maybe kind of excusing it, using it as a justification will make you feel comfortable or you can sleep better at night. But if we're not using these things as an opportunity to change, to really look at them and say, how do we work with this as opposed to allowing it to work against us? You're going to be left behind. So I want to talk about how we can really dig into these different things, and instead of them being a limiting belief or a factor that's going to hold you back, that it is simply an opportunity, an open door for evolution so that you have an opportunity to still grow in this economy, to be chasing and achieving goals, to be empowering team members. So in this era, this theme of becoming uncomfortable to embrace change, I'm going to challenge everyone to really own your impact on the growth or decline of conversion and practice success. Like, it is in your hands. So if you are justifying, if you're sitting back, if you're saying everyone shops, goes to 3 consultations before making a decision, so no one's going to same day start. Or as soon as someone walks through the door and says, I'm collecting options, I'm going to multiple opinions before starting, that you show up differently in that consultation as if you've kind of quit. You're accepting that statistic as a reality that's going to hold you back. Okay, there are still lots of people who are same day starting and lots of people who will put up that resistance at first and say, I'm shopping around, I'm going to go home and think about it, who will still make a commitment in the moment if you are guiding them toward decision making. If you are delivering an uncomparable experience that earns trust and distinguishes yourself, you will earn those shoppers. Okay, I love this quote. We don't need a title to lead. We just need to care. People would rather follow a leader with a heart than a leader with a title. I tell treatment coordinators all the time that they are the financial leaders of the practice. So while they don't necessarily have office manager title next to treatment coordinator, you are the needle mover for the practice. And so looking at the position with creativity, how can it be better? Why are we doing things the way that we're doing them? Is the order in which things happen for the new patient experience, or the amount of time that they're left alone while chatting with the doctor, waiting to bring the doctor in, are those for and about the patient? Is that the best experience for the patient? Or is it simply how it's done because it was how it was trained? Maybe it doesn't make sense anymore. Sometimes we take inefficiencies with us into our busyness. The way that things could work and function when you were slower, when you were newer, don't work as well when you get busy, and it doesn't have to stay that way. So being creative, being a leader, looking for opportunities to grow and change the position for the betterment of the business and the patient experience, that's the opportunity that treatment coordinators have. So as a treatment coordinator, you are in a financial leadership position, which means you need to be looking at efficiency and time management. What is the impact of the new patient column to the clinic, and where does the doctor need to be, and what is this ebb and flow in the practice that delivers an amazing new patient experience while also taking care of doctor time? Having knowledge, empathy, and sales confidence. And we're going to dig into those things as we go forward. And then self-accountability, reaching practice goals. When I'm working one-on-one with treatment coordinators, we're looking at the practice goal is what's needed for a healthy business. But then what's the treatment coordinator's goal beyond that? Here's an example. If your goal is 70%, once you've reached 70, 72, maybe 75%, you've arrived or even exceeded that goal. But what if the goal for the treatment coordinator, not necessarily the practice, but if the treatment coordinator says, I want 100% conversion days, I want my conversion rate to be 85%. Well, then all of a sudden, when you've reached 75, 78, 80%, you're going to continue pushing beyond. So there's a mindset that needs to be embodied in treatment coordinators as financial leaders to really push beyond. And that's where we see growth happening in practices. So to be successful in sales in 2024, it looks different than it used to, and that's okay. We need to be guiding people towards same-day decision-making, and that happens by asking questions that invites sharing from the moment the consultation begins. We need to be collaborating with our shoppers, not delivering an experience that happens to them. It needs to be for and about them. We need to solve our shoppers' wants and needs with our service. And we can't do that if we don't know what their wants and needs are. And we definitely look tacky, desperate, and salesy if the second someone walks through the door, it's like, you're in the best place. You're in the right place. Let's get you started right now. They're like, hold on a second. But you don't know me. You don't know what I want. So how do you know that you're the right answer for me? But if we're asking people what they know, what they're afraid of, what they're excited about, what their timeline is, when we're really bringing them into what it is that we're doing and have to offer, then all of a sudden you're solving a busy mom's concern that putting her child in treatment on top of sports and having to be in 5 different places at one time, like you can solve efficiency with remote monitoring and with custom treatment or less frequent visits to the office. All of a sudden, it's for and about them, as opposed to simply being the cool tech and tools and features that your practice has to offer. So it goes hand in hand. And then we want to simplify that new patient experience by making every moment for and about them. And what I mean in that is that it needs to be efficient. It needs to be direct, like less kind of song and dance, less waiting around, less chit chat. Some of the things that I think worked and were common and still trained in TC positions today can feel like a waste of time for the shopper. So again, if we're putting ourselves in our new patient's seat, what is that experience, and is it as good as it could be? Is it efficient, and is it working for you or against you? So let's value these truths about our orthodontic shopper. They've done research. not all that research is even good research, right? But our shoppers are coming in educated. They have an idea about what they want. So they've been on social media, they've been on our website, they've asked around. They're coming in with knowledge. So let's appreciate that that's where they're coming from and allow that to be a jumping off point. Affordability is at the forefront of every conversation, as a pain point for people. It is definitely present in how decision making is happening right now, but affordability is down payment and monthly payments. It is still my recommendation to exit insurance network relationships if that gives you the ability to charge what your service is worth, if that's fitting for your practice. It is also my recommendation to increase your prices and to offer your upsells. We don't want to be afraid of the top number. We just need to be looking at, is that down payment and monthly payments, is the flexibility something that allows people to get started, or are you so rigid, or maybe you bumped up your down payment as a response to reduce consultations and increase in costs, and now you don't have as many people starting? So there's things that we can do in the design of the business to either encourage business to stay with us or to send them out the door to go find a better option. Our shoppers want to collaborate. It needs to be a conversation, not a monologue, okay? The more transparency, the more that you're really bringing someone into that decision-making process, the faster you earn trust. And then our shoppers want innovation. So innovation in tech, knowing that your doctor is cutting edge and forward thinking, having reassurances, and simply being impressed by tech. So OrthoFi, for example, it's such an awesome way of completing the new patient paperwork, of presenting the financials, showing the slider, giving that open choice, and then going directly into contract signing, or that start from home option. Like, it's easy, but it looks good. It's modern. And that is an example of using tech and tools that the industry has to offer to really separate yourself and your practice from others. So let's talk a second about how every start matters. And again, geared more toward treatment coordinators. When I'm digging into the numbers and really helping treatment coordinators to embody this entrepreneurial kind of business mindset, it's, hey, there really is this huge financial difference in a practice. Maybe the difference between doctor scared and stressed and losing sleep over the bank account to happy doctor, happy team, like growth, simply in changing the conversion rate. So how we sell, how we connect with people, and how many of those same day commitments we're earning, getting people scheduled to come back and get started right away, all of those things positively impact conversion, which leads us to a healthier production. So every start truly matters. And this is where a lot of practices, even as we're seeing an increase in shopping around and a decline in scheduling, are still growing and are healthy financially. It's by truly capitalizing on those who are walking through your door. So striving for those higher conversion rates, and that is still possible in this challenged economy. So a few more uncomfortable realities that are definitely affecting practice profitability. We have higher operating costs, employment costs, price capped by insurance, and then declining starts and reduced upfront cash. Okay, all of these things simply point us to delivering the kind of experience that people can't walk away from. And if they can't tell the difference between you and their other options beyond a price quote, beyond straight teeth with braces, and this is how much it costs, then you're not doing your job well enough. People should be able to distinguish you above everyone else, and so clearly know that what you have to offer is different, is special, and ultimately is in their best interest. So Selling our upsells is necessary for practice health. And we're going to dig into upsells and what those look like, why we want to really encourage and not be afraid of offering those things, even in an economy where people are walking through your door saying, I'm concerned about money, more so than they were 5 or 10 years ago. But that doesn't mean that we want to be afraid of money or pull back and limit people's options. We need to maximize conversion for practice health, and we need to really lean into those same-day commitments for practice health. So let's look at some OrthoFi data. I love this slide. If you are bonding brackets in the clinic, right? You're not all custom treatment. You are still bonding brackets. Then you could do same-day contract plus same-day start. For a lot of my practices who've moved to fully custom solutions, you live in this category of same-day contract and scheduled to come back and start treatment. The reason why a same-day commitment matters so much is because you're going to retain 98.6% of those who commit in the moment, okay? If we schedule those people to come back to sign their contract, so verbally they're saying yes, we schedule them to come back to sign their contract, the numbers here show us that we lose 20% of those people because they've now had an opportunity to go home, think about it, do some additional research, go to another consult, have someone talk them out of it, put it on the back burner because something else came up, like whatever the scenario is, there's an opportunity for people to not move forward, okay? Now, I'm not saying that that is bad. If someone cannot commit in the moment, and there are scenarios, not everyone is a same-day start. So if they can't commit during the consultation, definitely schedule them to come back, because beyond that, if they leave without a scheduled appointment to get started, we're losing more than 50% of those people. And I have never met a treatment coordinator who loves following up, although I have a lot of treatment coordinators who love the follow-up protocol that I recommend and help treatment coordinators implement. It partners beautifully with OrthoFi and the automations. But the point is that there's better and worse ways of doing things. And again, we don't want to be in the follow-up business, in the chasing business and delayed gratification business, where we can tap into being more of a same day, same week business. But it does require doing things intentionally to accomplish that. So let's dig into our first winning sales strategy. This is the cheat sheet out of OrthoFi. And what I love is that when the new patients are completing their paperwork, they are able to tell you what matters to them most. Okay, so we want to use this information to really dig in to what it is that they want to accomplish, and then how can we solve that with our service, with our doctor's personality, with our schedule, with our location, whatever the distinguishes are in your practice. You want to make sure that you're using what the patient is pre-communicating as that jumping off point for conversation without making assumptions. Okay. And I was guilty of this, like as a treatment coordinator with the slider, you see what people are saying and you go, oh, this one's going to be tough. Like you just kind of have a guard. And of course, once you've been doing this for a long time there, you do start to have some trends. So it's not that it's wrong, but we have to very intentionally be in the moment with each new shopper as if we haven't done this over and over again, okay? So in this scenario, they want low monthly, low down payment, and they'd like to get started within the month. Okay, that's great. This is just a classic, I'm excited, I'm ready to go, money matters. So starting that consultation, maybe by doing records and then jumping into treatment planning and saving the money conversation for the end, is not going to help anyone. That statistically will not turn into a same-day commitment, and your new patient may not really be bought into your personality, what the practice has to offer, the doctor or the treatment plan, if they're simply afraid of money the entire time. So when you're kicking off that consultation, it's saying something like, thank you so much for completing your paperwork, for reserving time out of your busy schedule to come and interview us. Really happy to meet you. I see that affordability, maybe flexibility in financing, and getting started within the month matter to you most. So let's start with the getting started in a month. Is there a particular reason? You have something coming up in the future? You're just super excited to do this. So you have a quick conversation about that. And then about money, you go, hey, I just want to let you know, we really pride ourselves on being flexible and affordable in financing. So you're going to get to select your down payment and your monthly payments for whatever is best in your budget. Okay. Now they can lean in and trust you and enjoy the experience and get involved in the treatment planning process because you have reassured them. You've addressed their primary concern from moment one. And now the rest of the appointment is something that they can truly be fully present for. Now, any OrthoVi user will look at this slide, especially if it's for an adult, and go, oh my gosh, length of treatment, clear and visible, getting started right away, and assume that this is maybe an adult who is hoping to accomplish an 18-month treatment plan in 3 months, or some scenario where they're either looking for the cheapest, fastest, or maybe have unreasonable expectations. I just want to encourage over and over again to not make assumptions. Simply ask questions. Use this as a jumping off point to say, please tell me more about this. What is the length of treatment that you have in mind? Or do you have something coming up in the future and you're hoping to be completed by that time? Okay, this is just simply a place to begin a conversation. And it also doesn't mean that after education and falling in love with the doctor and the office and everything that you are going to deliver over their new patient consultation experience, that you wouldn't still win someone in the direction of maybe doing more than they originally believed they needed or thought they wanted. The other side of that is that it is not a downsell or adjust or a negative to do limited treatment for adults, because if that's everything that they're looking for, if that's the end result that's going to make them happy, or the length of time partnered with financial investment that works for them, then you're solving their want and need. And if you're trying to fit everyone into a box, then you are, by design of the experience being delivered, sending people to find a solution somewhere else. Now, sometimes people mark that everything is extremely important. That is kind of a way to even kick it off with kind of a joke, like, hey, thanks for completing everything. And I see that all the things about orthodontic treatment, comfort, length of treatment, clear and visible, the financials, and getting started right away are all extremely important to you. That's awesome. And then you need to talk about it, because there's still going to be something in there that outshines the rest. On the flip side, if nothing is important, it probably means that they just didn't take the time to think about it. Okay, so you're going to walk them through those different categories because you need to understand where they're coming from so that you can guide toward decision making. My recommendation is that you bring the elephant into the room as quickly as possible so that you are able to earn trust, create comfort and confidence in your shopper, and get to the heart of their wants and needs, their fears, their misunderstandings, like wherever they're coming from, you need to learn it so that you're able to guide them. So our second winning sales strategy is to stop talking about treatment and the practice in generalizations. So if we're starting our consultation by digging into that cheat sheet, talking with the patient specifically about the things that matter to them most, maybe inviting that elephant into the room so that we can clear it out and really collaborate for the rest of the time together, then the conversation, the things that you're going to share about the practice, about the doctor, and about treatment should all be specific to that individual that you're sitting with, not a generalized speech about the business that may not be things that are applicable or that that person that you're sitting with cares about. So to know what questions they need answered to be able to fit their puzzle pieces together and go from kind of window shopping, thinking about it, considering or collecting a price quote, to actually making a decision, you need to be talking in specifics, not generalizations. It is a treatment coordinator's job to guide toward decision making. So as you're learning from your shopper, validating their wants and needs, you're able to solve their needs with your service. You're also able to gather really valuable insights and share with your doctor so that when the doctor is involved in the consultation, they're at the heart of what the patient needs to hear or is looking for without having to repeat. Okay, our third winning sales strategy. Our shoppers are smart. A lot of them are millennials now. They want efficiency to schedule online, their time to be managed well. We actually see in a lot of data and studies around millennial shoppers that they'll invest more than maybe initially estimated or budgeted where they feel the most valued and that their time is appreciated and valued. Okay, so we don't want to be wasting people's time during the consultations. Really button that down, work on your doctor time, make sure that it's staged and choreographed in a way with the ability to pivot as needed when things arise, because nothing's perfect 100% of the time, so that that experience that you're always delivering is efficient. It doesn't have to be identical every time, but it can be really great even when it's done differently. So our shoppers know that it's your job to sell, right? They're looking to buy something. Here's the other thing. They can't get started until they make the purchase, right? So it's this faith-based purchase that is required to begin the journey of the desired transformation. Okay, so every moment about your consultation needs to be human to human. Also, if we take a step back and appreciate how difficult it is for people to shop orthodontics, right? It's kind of a secret and come in for the appointment, go through a whole process. And I tell my treatment coordinators all the time, I'm like, let's assume if someone goes to 3 consultations that they're going to meet 3 happy teams in 3 friendly environments with 3 really nice doctors who say that they can accomplish what the patient is looking for, and they're going to walk away with a path forward, a price quote and an expectation for scheduling, and like, this is what it looks like to become a patient of our practice. So how do you set yourself apart? And also, how do our shoppers make a decision? So when we have empathy and kind of understanding around what it is and what it looks like for them, then we can really start to identify ways of further distinguishing ourselves for the opportunity to earn more commitments. So our 4th winning sales strategy is that we're going to rearrange the key moments of the new patient consultation as needed to deliver that patient-focused, highly customized experience. So we go back to what I was saying before as we're using the cheat sheets. We can't start every appointment with the same intro and speech and then, do exactly the same thing with records and the exact same conversation around the different tech and tools that the doctor offers, or speak in generalization. Some of these things are going to need to pivot. And if the doctor's caught in the clinic and can't come into the consultation on time as designed, then how does the treatment coordinator pivot and move forward so that we're not putting pause to the appointment? We don't want to be running over in time for consultations, and we definitely don't want to be putting those new patients in a situation where they feel like their time isn't being valued, or that you can't manage your time well, because when someone's considering a multi-year relationship with your business, they want to know that their time is valued. So these are uncomfortable truths that can be sabotaging your conversion. If you are taking your new patient through a standardized, scripted, or unauthentic consultation experience, you are earning a lesser conversion rate than is possible if that was different. If the treatment coordinator's sales authority is limited, or if there's a reduced sales confidence, either around money, the financial presentation, or a confidence around treatment planning, maybe the treatment coordinator feels limited in training strategies or is micromanaged, your practice is earning a lesser conversion rate than is possible. It could be that you are giving patients more than one treatment option and expecting them to choose. They can't choose. I don't know how to, I can say this over and over and over again. And I talk to doctors and they say, well, sometimes it really can be one way or the other. Sometimes it really could be getting started right now or waiting a few months. And it really would be the same end result, or it doesn't really matter to the doctor whether the patient does braces or aligners. I get that. But if we're connecting with people, asking them really valuable questions about their lifestyle, their personality, their desired end result, appointment scheduling, there is still opportunity to hone in. So even if it's a doctor who really wants to deliver the multiple options during the consultations, to at least get to the end and say, based on what we know about your lifestyle, your preferences, doing A instead of B might make the most sense. Okay. Or if you were my family member, this is what I would recommend. But when we can appreciate, when we're understanding that our shoppers are coming in already aware of multiple options and they're going to go to multiple consultations and therefore have more options, then we need to cut through the noise. Make it very much foreign about the patient, but get to a place where they could actually make a decision. And if we're not giving them a confident path forward, then they have to go home and think about it. Running behind your schedule, delivering a less than ideal first impression will send a lot of your shoppers to find something better. Even if they wanted to start with you or have heard really good things about you, you have one opportunity to deliver a great first impression, and we do not want to waste people's time. So selling the upsell is necessary to support practice health in 2024 and beyond. And it's just really inviting everyone to think outside of the box. How can we pivot quickly? This is not a season of kind of overthinking and long-term planning. Let's act. Let's make some decisions. Let's incorporate some things and then trial it. How is this going for 60 to 90 days? Do we want to keep going? Do we need to pivot again? Okay, so act quickly on your feet. Give adults those limited treatment options without it being a downsell, without it being a lesser, because when you're solving their wants and needs, they're staying with you, and that is positive production in the practice. Incentivize those same-day commitments. If it doesn't matter to the person, like if the pricing or what comes with the treatment, if everything is exactly the same today, tomorrow, next week, next month, why do it today? So consider how people shop, and this is a pain point for doctors. I understand it. So all doctors who are listening, I get it. You don't like the idea of either giving something away or offering a same-day start courtesy, some sort of a discount, because maybe it feels salesy or it feels like it's devaluing what you have to offer. What I have to say to that is that it doesn't. It simply taps into the human psychology of buying. There is a reason why grocery stores put things on promotion, and I mean, clothing and you name it, everything, vacation packages, even the things that people typically finance on an annual basis, they're going to maybe look for a deal. And it's not that those who are walking through your door to interview you value you less because you're offering something like that, or that they wouldn't value you in the same way if you didn't. The point is that if they can go home and think about it, then you're playing with those follow-up numbers and those lesser conversions. And then let's look at Upselling, whitening, retainer retention plans, like what can you add on that simply increases production, but is a value add? I want it to be a win-win. So it isn't simply about you making more money, but it's also a benefit to your patients. So you are selling value. Your new patient is interviewing you on purpose. So respect their shopping experience, guide them toward decision making. Embrace modernizations in the industry and the practice, and then educate them on the benefits for them as an individual by working with you because you learned those things about them. Offer your upsells without hesitation or apology. And I understand the challenge there. Like, as a treatment coordinator and as a coach and consultant for practices and treatment coordinators, I understand like the resistance in theory to increasing prices or offering more, especially when people are concerned about cost. Except that that's a projection of yourself into that situation. Is it really in your patient's best interest for you to hold back, or for you to be apologetic about the pricing, or for you to want to fall out of your chair if your doctor raises the price by a couple $100? It's not your bank account. It's not your decision. Okay. So take a step back, take a deep breath. It doesn't really matter. There's practices who are selling treatment for thousands of dollars more than other practices at greater success. It is all about the experience that is being delivered. Right now, the most profitable upsells are retainers and adult express treatment. So you're increasing production without increasing case starts by pre-selling your retainer upgrades. And then you're meeting the needs of those adult shoppers and increasing production by pivoting to sell express treatment to those who are not looking for a comprehensive solution. As a reminder, if your new patient doesn't start with you, they're going to start somewhere else. So the experience that's delivered and how you earn their trust and how you guide them toward getting started is really important. So let's look again, when we're considering upselling, at a scenario where someone is pre-communicating that they're concerned about money and want to get started right away. Simply address cost at the very beginning, like I talked about earlier. Ask for a specific comfortable down payment or monthly payment. Do they have a figure in mind? Like, you can talk specifics in general. I know that sounds funny, but they can give you some specific numbers and you can say, yes, that's something that we can do. And now they're comfortable and now you're able to move forward. Okay. So you're validating concerns, you're assuring them, and then you're able to move forward. So I would not look at this and say, oh, because they're worried about money, I'm not going to tell them about our retainer plan. They're already going to think that comprehensive treatment is too much because they're worried about money. No, they knew it was going to cost money before they walked through the door. So simply speaking human to human, hey, let's collaborate together. Let's figure out how we can make this happen for you. Ask the questions. Get uncomfortable with people for the ability to make them comfortable, and you will earn more same-day commitments and just commitments in general. So treatment coordinators and doctors, but treatment coordinators, since you're the one presenting money, stop projecting your feelings, opinions, or beliefs about money, the economy, or affordability into your sales conversation. Simply be a guide, provide the path forward, give the tour of their options, and allow them to choose. And remember that what works for others may not work for you, and that's okay. But I talk to treatment coordinators a lot, even my OrthoFi treatment coordinators, who are almost apologetic or don't want people to have to pay interest. I'm like, if that's their ability to get started, and this is something that they really want, then that is a wonderful solution. That is not something to fear. It is not something to try and talk people out of. Again, like, a lot of people are going to see that that's an option, and it's going to guide them back to not selecting an extended financing, which is great. But for those who need it, you don't need to feel anything about it other than you're really excited that they're able to get started and that that is something that is being offered to them where otherwise they wouldn't be able to get started, or at least not with you. They'd be back out trying to find another option. So if we're talking about upselling, when someone pre-communicates length of treatment and clear and visible, we already looked at this slide. When you're talking about timing and getting started, and total length of treatment in timing, again, it's just a fact-finding mission on your part. And then the treatment coordinator is able to communicate that with the doctor, and then you're all able to put your heads together and make a decision. Is this a situation where someone's going to go beyond what they were originally expecting because they're looking for more? Or are they going to really push to stay within the boundaries of their original expectation? And is that a need and want that you're going to solve for them? So the more you know, the faster you can help. And these are effective ways to guiding towards same-day decision-making, is to be very efficient in your time management and communication. So again, we're not talking in generals, we're talking specifically to the wants and needs of the individual that we're sitting with. We're communicating those wants and needs to the doctor so that we are getting to the heart of things faster, that it's clear and simple, and that the patient doesn't have to repeat themselves. And then you need to make getting started very clear and simple. And that's going to include, hopefully, one single path forward, one treatment plan, and a single price quote. And that way you could come to that point of decision faster. So your ultimate winning sales strategies, if we want to sum it all up, is to present your upsells to everyone. Don't project your own opinions into what someone else is going to believe is affordable or too much, because it can come, you can take it out, right? And that's another way of being a hero. If you say, like, this is our ultimate package and it comes with retainer retention beyond the finish of treatment because we want to ensure your smile lasts a lifetime. However you language that, if someone says, this is really just more than I can do right now, and I understand the value, but like, I just have to have my monthly payment smaller, then when you remove that, you're being understanding, you're solving a want and need, you're being a hero in the moment, and they're still able to get started. Okay, so that's a win-win for everyone. And the person is going to trust you to have that conversation because you've already done so many fantastic things in communicating and earning trust up to that moment. Very few of us like to see the top number and then say, and you could add on. Let's make it more expensive, right? That just doesn't feel as good. So start with the biggest, pull back as needed. But I'll show you on another slide here just what is possible in boosting production when you do that. The other, present your courtesies to everyone. So this isn't like a back pocket, like, if someone starts hemming and hawing, then I can tell them that they could get a free water pick, or they could get this fancy cup or this package or $200 off. No, whatever your courtesy is, everyone gets it at the beginning, exactly the same as everyone's getting your upsells. And that way you don't feel like salesy or tacky or handle situations in a way that could be off-putting to your shoppers. So let's look at some numbers here when you're upselling retainers. In this example, 30 signed contracts in a month, average contract value is 5,000, retainer retention program you're selling for 800. I'm talking about production numbers here, not net. I'm not talking about what's included in that retainer package, but when it is presented to everyone, you have an opportunity to sell it, right? Where if you're not upselling, then in this scenario, monthly production, 150,000, you're maybe picking and choosing who you present it to and sell 8 in a month. Great, that boosts production a little bit. What I see with my private clients is that when a treatment coordinator presents the option 100% of the time, the upsell lands somewhere between 50 and 75%. So again, in this scenario, that would be an added production at 50% conversion of your upsell, an added production of 144,000. that is essentially like adding a 13th month of production to your practice without converting more patients. Okay, so that's the importance of digging in here and really looking for these opportunities to boost revenue. In our current economy, and this will apply even once we're not maybe in this version of economy. So I say that loosely because I think we just always have to be looking for opportunities to grow and expand. And we're put under pressure. There's a lot of tension right now that's motivating people to dig in and embrace change, or at least look for ways to improve. And then when we get to easy street, we kind of get too casual. So I'll say in our current economy, growth without limits requires selling more, but in every economy, growth without limits requires selling more. So most effective way to navigate increased shopping around, decreasing exams or inconsistency in scheduling, declining profit margins is for treatment coordinators to be proactive sales advocates. And what that looks like is really leaning in and selling your doctor and delivering an uncomparable experience and studying your competition, like understanding the industry and what patients are going to experience and what's going to be recommended at other places so that you are confident that the experience that you're delivering is very distinguishing. And then sell your differences as they meet the needs of the individuals that you're sitting with. So, in a nutshell, selling your upsells will increase practice profitability by meeting needs and adding value. It's a win-win, which it should be, but it's very cool in this scenario that there are opportunities to add on or to create kind of a premier treatment package that is a win-win for your brand, for your client experience, for their long-term happiness and familiarity with your business, all the way around, boosted production with creating more raving fans. So I would encourage everyone, take a screenshot here. I offer up to $1,500 off if you'd like to partner with me and guide your practice in some of these implementations or strategies. Sometimes we don't know what to leave the same and what to change, and that can kind of create a fear of moving. And we get tired of trial and error, and I get it. So as a remote coach, I partner with you in quick 30-minute weekly meetings or every other week, and we dig into your processes and systems and personalities and pain points and strengths and come up with a new path forward that will increase your case acceptance, boost sales confidence, sell your difference, and create more raving fans. So mention this webinar when you're scheduling a call with me, or when you send me an email, fill out a form on my website, and you can save up to $1,500. And then I am here to dig into questions and hopefully help make this that much more meaningful as you take it back to your practice.
Yes, thank you so much, Brooke. That was fantastic. I wasn't, I know you've presented this once before and I missed it. So I've been just loving listening to you tonight and learning from you. Fantastic. We do have some questions, and actually a very engaged audience sending in lots of questions. So we'll try to hit as many of these as we can. And then any that we do not get to during the webinar, we'll be forwarding those on to Brooke. And if you've your name with it, she'll be able to reach out to you individually and reply. Yep. So the first question is really about the front desk. So how do we get the front desk from that beginning phone call when they're walking in the door to engage the patient so that they're excited to be there and that we're kind of tracking toward a same-day start?
I really like when the front desk either identifies someone who's going to be the new patient concierge, or when phones are off the front desk. So the person who's there is really present and able to make eye contact, and then is waiting and ready to greet that new patient. So think of it like a host in a really nice restaurant. And if it can't be someone from the front desk, maybe it's the person who is responsible for records. If there's a records assistant that's going to partner with the treatment coordinator, then that person can be waiting and ready to greet, welcome, take them on a tour immediately. But I think where you're going to distinguish yourself from the moment of walking through the front door and more quickly impress for that ability to earn a same-day commitment is when the person's experience from the second they step through the door is unlike going to the doctor's office. If they have to walk up to the counter, have a generalized check-in, sit down and wait to be called back, that doesn't set you apart.
Yeah. And so, and then what about even from beginning with the phone call? Or is there any certain scripting that you use in that new patient, the phone call with a new patient?
So something in that new patient phone call should emulate what the treatment coordinator is going to be doing. So when the person who's answering and taking those new patient phone calls understands that the TC is going to be asking a lot of questions and really inviting sharing, then there needs to be a wow moment in that new patient phone call where you're learning something about them that gives you the ability to either share in an enthusiasm or alleviate a fear or a concern right away, and that call can end with the person saying, like, I'm really looking forward to meeting you. So I struggle with scripting, like have a script, like have something where you're collecting kind of standardized data, but go beyond with personality and care so that that phone call in and of itself could be the best phone call that that person ever had, as opposed to simply checking a chore off their to-do list.
Love it. Love it. Okay, so you've talked a lot to the TCs today, and do you see
Yes.
a difference? So, having a separate TC from the financial coordinator, or if they're doing the same role, kind of what's your thought on having two roles or one role?
Well, if you're partnered with OrthoFi, then one role is perfect because it's very easy to present financials and go directly into contract signing and then have the support of OrthoFi and insurance billing and all of those kinds of things. So I definitely still have a mix in practices. I do see a lot of practices that are doing all custom treatment, remote monitoring, and have pretty small teams that the treatment coordinator is also doing financial things. And then maybe there's an office manager who's handling some of that. So there isn't one way. I'd say that sometimes we do just take inefficiencies or how we did it 5 or 10 years ago and just keep doing it that way because it's how we've always done it, as opposed to reevaluating and saying this isn't efficient, it isn't necessary, there's a better way of utilizing our team members or delivering this patient experience.
Right. Perfect. So, you did talk quite a bit tonight about the upsells. And
Yes.
so, is this always just vocal, or do you have recommendations on pamphlets, brochures, other visuals that should be used when doing an upsell?
I think it depends on what it is. I believe that you can sell any brand of aligner or braces or retainer program verbally with saying very little or having minor visuals. Sometimes when we get into the specifics, you're playing videos, you have all of these pamphlets, the presentation in and of itself feels overwhelming to people, or like you're putting a lot of weight or emphasis on next level decisions that they have to make. So if a patient doesn't know that there's 20 different brands of braces, or there's a difference between, a traditional braces and a custom bracket system, and now you're giving a lot of options or you're getting into the specifics, then they might take a step back and say, this is a bigger decision. Now I have more research I need to do. I can't make this decision in the moment. So less is more, keep it simple.
Okay. Would love to hear thoughts on when I know that every TC has heard this. I have to ask my spouse.
Oh, yes, the spouse. So that's a question that you can ask at the beginning. I definitely recommend like languaging when you're scheduling the appointment. So if we're going back to the front desk, there's things that your scheduling coordinator can say to encourage someone to bring all decision makers and to have conversations ahead of time. Treatment coordinators can do things prior to the consultation to, again, invite all decision makers to the appointment, and then ask questions at the very beginning so that if someone puts up that resistance, be like, yeah, we're so excited to get you started today. Like, assuming you love our office and the treatment plan and the financial options fit in your budget, then we could get you started today. If they go, oh, I'm gonna have to go home and talk about it, you go, oh, okay, well, is it possible to get that person on the phone, include them right now? They're going to have questions that you probably don't think to ask, and it can be hard to go home and have this conversation. So I'd be happy to help. So you want to be offering solutions from the very beginning so that it isn't something that gets tossed at you at the very end. The flip side of that is that I find that the person who's sitting there most of the time is the decision maker, the other parent, unless it's a divorce scenario. There are some times when someone does need to go home and talk about it and figure things out. Totally get that. But if you say, okay, what are their primary concerns going to be? And try and dig into that, sometimes you can figure out the part that the person who's sitting with you is either going to be uncomfortable to try and sell when they go home, or maybe you can turn it around. There's a misunderstanding. Sometimes they can become same-day commitments. So just ask questions. Figure out what that person at home is going to care about, because oftentimes that's the thing the person who's sitting with you is worried about going home and selling.
Right. Yeah. And that's one thing I always love about listening to you, Brooke, is it's just about the questioning and just continuing to dig a little deeper. And it's more about just really getting to know the person, knowing their
Yes.
questions. And I just love that. We do typically end right on the hour, but since we had so many questions tonight, I'm going to let this go until 5 after. I hope you'll
Okay.
stay with us for a minute. So there's a question about when you kind of present the upsell. So beginning, during, after they've committed, kind of where does the conversation about, let's just use retainers.
Okay. It would be early in the conversation. So once you've identified what they want to accomplish, so you've looked at their scan or their photos together and said, tell me about your smile, let them tell you first. We can tell them because we're the expert, right? But what if we put it in the wrong order and we put our foot in our mouth and now they don't like us? Okay, so let them tell you first what they want to change and improve, what matters to them. And then when you're talking about tech and how you move teeth, that's when you would talk about your retainers. And hey, for this to be a smile for a lifetime, we're going to need to hold that with retainers. Is that something that you knew? The really cool thing about our practice, our doctor, is that we prioritize this. We really value your investment. We want that to last for you long term. So we have an option for unlimited or a retainer retention program, whatever it is. So you're tossing it in right there. Now you've put in their mind that it's a treatment plan plus retainers. Then when you get to the point of presenting it, they've already heard about it.
Right. Okay. That's awesome. Brooke, if you'll stop sharing your
Oh,
screen
sure.
in it. And then, Alan, if you'll go ahead and put the next slide up. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and just a couple quick promos before we leave. We are hosting a masterclass workshop the day before AAO. So if you're going to be at AAO, this would be an awesome class for you to join us in and just learn a little bit more about OrthoFi, but also just the entire customer experience with our own Oliver Gellis, and then also with Brian Wright. If you'll move to the next slide, Alan, I also want to mention, I know Brooke has talked quite a bit about, Alan, if you can just go on to that next slide. I know Brooke has talked quite a bit tonight about OrthoFi, and I appreciate you. I know, Brooke, you know it so well because you used it in a practice that you were in. We would love to talk to you about OrthoFi. We're actually offering a free practice assessment with every overview that we do. So we're able to kind of dig in and see what your practice delinquency is, kind of what your same day starts are, and really give you a picture of what you could look like if using OrthoFi. So use this QR code and schedule some time with us. So just wanted to mention those two things before we go. Brooke, as always, this has been fantastic. And thank you for being with us tonight. We'll have you again hopefully by the end of the year again.
Yeah.
And if anybody is interested in learning more from Brooke and you didn't get her information, just reach out to us and we can share her email address with you. And I know that she'd be interested in working with you in your practice. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time on the Industry Expert Webinar Series. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.